Hi everyone, Puka here. This is the first part of our short-run actual play series, coordinated by co-host Fetch, to go through a brief story for Changeling the Dreaming. This is a special feature as part of our ongoing slate of projects to celebrate the game's 30th anniversary year. If you've never had the opportunity to play an actual game of Changeling yet, we hope this trilogy of episodes will give you some enjoyable insight into the experience. And if you're a veteran player, we hope it's just downright enjoyable. So sit back, relax, and here comes the gamin'. This is Changeling the Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Changeling the Podcast. In an unusual change of things, I am your sole host today. I am Fetch. I normally am here to talk about Changeling the Lost, but today I am going to be hosting an actual play of Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary for all of you lovely listeners to check out. Hopefully, by the end of this, anyone who is new to Changeling will have learned something about how to run the game or just be a player in it. And if you are experienced at running or playing, I hope you'll still be able to get something out of this experience. Now, we will be recording this over the course of 1 to 3 sessions. I am going to now ask my lovely players to introduce themselves. So, just beginning with myself again. I'm Fetch, my background, she, her. I have run one Changeling the Dreaming campaign, and also at least one shot of it, both before and since then. I love TTRPGs. I play and run an absolute ton of them, and I am really excited to be bringing this to all of you. So let's go down the list of our players, starting with the top.
Hi, I'm Medi, she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Thessania tonight, who is a wildling autumn she, and who is like the daughter of the local baron.
He's gotten an upgrade recently. Thessania is the daughter of Count Radamanthus, who rules the city of Phoenix and is aligned with the Sealy Court. But it's a little bit more complicated for her than that, isn't it?
Quite. She is a bit, somewhat of a rebellious little princess, in that she's choosing to live among the unseelie and just outside of the freehold, and just cultivating a community there for local like unseelie changelings. She's also an underground singer with her own venue, and which she just recently inherited, and is having to figure out what to do with that.
She's got a lot of wild adventures ahead of herself. Out of curiosity, what kind of music does she play?
Rock.
Heck yeah. All right, let's go down to the next person.
Okay, so this podcast brought to you by the letter J. That's me. I'm Jay, he, him. I'm a bit of a late bloomer with TTRPGs. Didn't get into it until a little later in life, but been going pretty strong ever since I got into it. And played a couple of games of Changeling the Dream before. Today I'm playing Lucas Green, the Chloricon butler of Lord Beleros of House Baelor, who, when he's not being a damn good butler to his lord, is a bit of a wine aficionado. He has a bit of a collection that he's proud of. Don't touch his stuff. And does enjoy going to the occasional boxing match. Reminds him of his younger days when he was in the game himself. Because those Clericons, they do love a fight.
Remind me, did you say that he's a wilder or a grump?
Wilder.
Okay, cool. He's a gentleman's gentleman, and also a gentleman's bodyguard, and also a gentleman's wine connoisseur.
He's a little of everything, really. What you might call a bit of a jack of all trades.
I believe that's even on your character sheet, literally.
Yeah, he's
Excellent.
got a merit.
Now, your character, Lucas, is new to me, but I played with all three of you before, and two of you are reprising your characters from my previous Changeling campaign. The audience does not need to know anything about the campaign. We'll introduce any necessary elements as we go along. But Thessania is one of them, and now we're going to be talking about Elerus. Please introduce yourself, and then I will introduce the setting.
Well, hello and greetings, everyone. I'm Elerus, he, him pronouns. Confusingly, also playing Elerus, a precocious puka pigeon prodigy who uses a mixture of Chronos and a quirk on a custom merit, Fey Eternity, to travel amongst the youth of Phoenix and protect them. That is perhaps the only thing he takes seriously. He's recently joined House Eluded, and to that end, he has served the court and is now trying to get Radamanthus to look out for the city a little more and its mortal populace. I'm sure it will go well.
I am excited to see how beautifully well it goes. Part of the fun of these games is I don't really know. All I know is something interesting is going to happen. By the way, would you care to explain how Elerus's version of Fairy Eternity is different from the one in the book?
Yeah, essentially, so in the book, the default is that once you undergo your chrysalis, for every 10 years, you age only 1 year. That is your mortal seeming. Essentially, Elerus can use it like a version of Chronos 5, where he can kind of adjust his age what he needs to fit in with like a class or a school, where he guides, finds dreamers. That's essentially the basics of it. I paid a good 1 point for that, and not the 5 points as second edition mandated, so I got off cheap.
Oh, 5 points in second edition. Jeez.
Back in my day.
Here comes the grump.
Yeah, no, I should absolutely be a grump by the standards.
Elerus, why is Grognardia on your character sheet?
Because it is the best art. Edition wars are always powerful things.
They hold such power in the dreaming itself, yes.
I could certainly give a migraine.
Now, I'm going to introduce our audience to the premise of our game. Then we're going to go over the safety tools and the other metatextual stuff that everybody should need to know about the game. Then we're going to just jump right into it. So, to begin with, this adventure takes place in the city of Phoenix, Arizona. Unlike the description in the book itself, I have customized the setting. The version of Phoenix is ruled by Count Radamanthus of House Ulunid. I think I mispronounced that. I'm going to continue. And he is a man who wants the best for his city, but oftentimes struggles to see the individuals that he rules over instead of looking at the big picture. He has very recently been talked out of believing that the city is on the verge of endless winter, thanks to the efforts of Thessania, Elerus, and some other changelings. Because of this, things in Phoenix have settled back down to a relatively stately set of affairs, with Elerus having been roped into the position of High Sorcerer, and his daughter Thessania trying desperately to get to his approval to marry the person that she loves. On the opposite side of things, we have Lord Valeros, who heads the Unseelie Court, and has always been ostensibly a staunch opponent to Radamanthus. However, the truth of the matter is that in their younger days, these two were lovers. Politics separated them as a third party, a Severtal, a Thalaine named Laminia, had insinuated herself into their relationship, and through a series of politics, became Rhadamanthus's wife. Thesania is their daughter, the daughter of a Seelie Fae and a Thalain Subvertal. The Thalain in the city do not entirely keep to themselves. Luminia may often brood, but even the Kithain have a grudging acceptance of Thalain who try to resist their worst natures, as we all must. And therefore, the city is a complex tapestry of people working together and trying to understand each other, and sometimes that goes great, and sometimes it goes horribly wrong. But speaking of trying to change things for the better, our three PCs have come to notice a problem. Rhadamanthus and Beleros still love each other, and they keep it a secret. For were it to be known that the heads of the Seelie and Unseelie court had such romantic interests, it would be devastating to their political careers and be something that could be held over their heads. Nevertheless, they are both coming to a point in their lives where they must either choose to commit or deal with the fallout when somebody reveals it for them. For your own reasons, you have decided that you are going to arrange a situation in which the two of them are going to confess their love to each other. The hope being that if you can control the circumstances of a proposal, which again, you must also encourage to happen in the first place, that you can guide the city towards a better world and perhaps help these two lovebirds finally get the peace and love they deserve. However, you know that you will experience opposition from those who wish to expose them or otherwise see their downfall. And that is the premise for our adventure. Now, we will be beginning at a familiar tavern, but before we do that, we are going to talk about safety tools and how this will be working overall. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Not on my end.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. So for this adventure, it will be 1 to 3 sessions, probably 3, just the way things work out. And the campaign will basically end with, well, however you make that relationship work out. Hopefully for the best. I like happy endings. For those listening who are new to the idea, tabletop games can sometimes go into areas that people feel uncomfortable about. Maybe you don't like seeing harm coming to animals, or you don't want to touch upon natural disasters. Or conversely, maybe you really want to experience something. You might be open to a game where your characters deal with bigotry because sometimes it's just fun to have your character punch a fascist. So, we are going to be using what are called safety tools that help us establish what we are looking for in the game and what we want to avoid. For this adventure, we will be using two of them. One is lines and veils and an accompanying safety sheet. The idea behind lines and veils is that everybody, including the storyteller, will list out any issues that they want to see in the game, want to have asked about before being introduced, want behind a veil so it doesn't happen on camera, or wish to put a line against, which is to say it does not happen at all. I have created a safety sheet, which is just a adaptation of an existing Google document that covers the most common topics that I would expect to come up in my game or one like this. I have shared it with all of the players, and I am asking all of them to just go through it right now and look at it while I also explain the pause system. So, pausing the game. Let's say that during the game something comes up that happens hit upon a line or veil. It might be an accident, somebody forgets something. It might be that somebody does something they don't realize covers a line or a veil for a person. It could even be that the person has discovered midway a new line or veil that they have. And all of those are fine. When that happens, the player simply says pause. We'll discuss what the issue is, and then we will correct it and move on with the game. The pause system can also be used if a player is just feeling either bored with a scene, like it feels like it's gone on too long, or if it feels like the tone is not matching what they were expecting out of the scene or the game overall. Does anybody have anything that they want to add to the safety sheet?
Was looking at it. No, it's not I.
Nothing comes to mind.
Cool. So, in this, we do have a lot of things which I listed, topics that could be upsetting to folks, like PC death, or having children as PCs, or dealing with bigotry. And for the most part, in this situation, nobody's chosen to mark anything on those ones. Looking at our safety sheet, I can see that we have a veil put against sexual intimacy. And just to clarify what the veil is, does that include personal displays of affection like hand holding and kissing, or is that reserved for more intimate matters?
More intimate, like, beyond what you might call public displays of affection.
Okay, noted.
Basically, no sex scenes on air, please.
Perfectly fine. There's also a section for romance plot consent. I do not expect this will come up, but I do encourage you all to fill it out just in case the matter happens to come up. Alright, so that said, we are going to be putting a veil against anything intimate that goes beyond generally acceptable public displays of affection. Does anybody have any questions about lines and veils, the pause system, the safety sheet, or safety tools in general?
Yeah, I'll ask a question. Engage, and I know this is a learning session for all of us. I know, Fetch, that you personally have run numerous games across numerous systems and platforms. A sheet, is that really the method that you found works like the best, or is it more like individual per group? Or because I know there's multiple kinds of safety tools. I've seen like red, green, yellow. I've seen an X, like a card system.
Oh, I totally forgot a third safety tool. Let me explain that one and then I'll answer that question.
Sure.
At the end of session, we will do Stars and Wishes, which is where all of the players, myself included, explain what we liked about each other's actions and also anything that we wish was different. So that could include something like, hey, I loved how Elerus remembered these rules, or I loved how Medi portrayed Thessania in this one scene, or I really disliked how Fetch did the voice for a certain character. On the other hand, a wish could be something like, hey, this session we did a lot of stuff with our characters, but next session I'd really like to see our characters get into a fight. Or it could be something like, hey, I enjoyed the session overall, but there were times when we spent a lot of time looking at the rules. I'd like it if we could cut back on that some way. The idea behind Stars and Wishes is that it helps us understand what went well about a game session and what we can do to improve as individuals and as a group. Going back to your question, Elerus, as to what I find works, there's two parts to that. There's what I consider the minimum, and there's what I consider to be the best. At minimum, I think you need to have some immediate awareness of any issues that might be present in the game. That could theoretically be as simple as content warnings for what you expect to come up, but I always encourage giving people a chance to bring up some form of their lines and veils. And that way, when you get into the game, everybody knows what to expect, and you're likely to avoid issues. Second, you should have something active during the session, so if a problem does arise, you can do something about it. Whether that's the X card, yellow, green, or the pause system that I prefer using. And I highly recommend having the after session debrief. It's a great way to catch something that did not get caught during the session itself. Myself personally, I try to always use lines and veils of the safety sheet, stars and wishes, and the pause system. For one shots that are like with people that I know very well or where it's very clear about something, I might use something a little more minimalist, but I never do not use safety tools at my games. And I always recommend that everybody do use some form of safety tool, even if you're playing with friends that you've known for a while, even if it's a system that you have all played a lot of, because just in case something happens, it's nice to have it in place. Any other questions? Okay. It sounds like we have everything that we are going to get. So now it is time to get into the adventure itself. So I'm going to introduce the setting, and then I'm going to ask all of you to explain what your character is doing here, why you're involved in this whole mess, and then you're going to jump into character. We begin at Purcell's Tavern. This is a cozy tavern in Phoenix that people from across the city come to in order to relax. Very few mortals find their way here, but changelings of all stripes meet here. You'll have plenty of tables where Seelie sit with their unseelie counterparts, where old rivals will sit across from each other and choose to make playful barbs rather than draw blades. And you might even see the occasional Thalain or other outsider present here. There are few rules for the place, prominently displayed. Most notably, be kind to each other. For those who do not keep kind, you might run afoul of the tavern's owner. Purcell is a boggin who looks like nothing more than a adorable little ram. She has been around the freehold for longer than practically anybody. In her youth, she served as a knight, as evidenced by the grand portrait that still hangs upon one wall, showing her with her full battle gear and the tremendous hammer that she wielded back in the day. However, these days, she instead runs the coziest, comfiest tavern in all of Phoenix, serving the best, most heartwarming meals to everybody who comes her way. It is a safe place. It is a comfortable place. It is a cozy place. And today, Purcell has a full crowd. Long tables set with people relaxing, a balefire in one corner in which people are sitting down having conversations, having drinks, and the three of you who have gathered together. Now, I'd like you all to explain. We're going to start with Thesania, then we're going to go to Lucas, and then Elerus. Why you are here. And then why you know each other. And then finally, just for fun, I'm going to ask the group, are you choosing a public table for your little chit chat, or have you chosen a more private location, which Purcell does allow? There are curtained off booths for those who need a little privacy for whatever matters they wish to discuss. And the matter you will be discussing today is going to be, how are we going to get Radamanthus and Boleros together? It is common politeness that people will not try to listen in on your conversations, that they'll leave your table if it becomes clear that they do not belong there. But as Purcell is coming around to the table that you have, I'd like each of you to tell me, what is your interest in this matter, and what food have you ordered from Purcell?
So Thalia, one of the reasons she's there, or rather, for her, she's been the most vocal about this, complaining about this, how her father has been just sulky for the past few months since the last incident, and as well as her vested interest in being a loyal, adoring daughter that she is, in her roundabout, grouchy kind of way. She wants that, get him to cheer up a bit more. And she was ordering
Booze.
booze. Lots of beer.
All right, so Purcell is setting down your booze, a tankard of beer. Something that feels more like it belongs in a fantasy tavern drawing than in anything that could be the real world. But then again, this is a little magical tavern, so a little bit of aesthetic flair goes a long way. She says to you, "Well, dear, I'm happy that I was able to bring you this, but are you absolutely sure that you don't want anything else to eat? A little bit of bread, something to help settle your stomach, of course."
It's fine, it's fine. Yeah, I just really need something just to ease myself into the mood tonight.
I understand.
It's a thinking drink.
Oh, I see. Is it your father? He's had, well, fey moods, I suppose, is one way we could put it. But I know that he's been a real grumpy puss for the last little while. Hasn't really been himself. I know that can be an awful lot upon you, dear.
He's been sighing at the window every time I'm visiting. And I don't visit often.
Oh dear. I hear he actually had that window installed a few months ago just for that very purpose. So he can look longingly over his kingdom and express his great sorrow. It's quite the display.
Is that his official dramatic explanation?
He hasn't said as much about it, dear, but it is very much exactly that. He's being a little bit of a brat, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I guess this is where I got that from.
No, dear, you're an absolutely wonderful, wonderful girl. I really should check out your performances sometime. Oh, and here we go over for Mr. Lucas. Lucas, what brings you into this conspiracy, and what have you ordered from Purcell? And remind me, what is your character's last name?
Green.
Thank you.
Lucas Green, Esquire. Lucas has noticed some behavioral changes in the lord that he serves, and it's getting a little strange, getting a little erratic, and he pretends like he doesn't know about him, these trysts that he sneaks away for, which is what anyone who's smart will do as well. But he knows that one way or another this needs to be figured out so that he doesn't start making alliances with the Lane Court or something.
That would be devastating, were he to become so heartbroken that he literally turned his way towards pure wickedness.
Indeed, can't have that. So if that means we have to help him fall in love and make this whole thing with Radamanthus something that, he can be out and proud about, then that's what we have to do, because that's how a butler serves his master, even when he doesn't know he's serving him.
But what does a butler order from the famed battling ram?
A glass of wine and some cheese and crackers.
She has brought you a proper little charcuterie board with a selection of different cheeses and colorfully shaped crackers. Some are ordinary circles, some are stars. There are a few that are shaped like dinosaurs. She smiles as she sets that down and says, "And here is your wine, dear. Now, be careful. This is some strong stuff, so you really should pace yourself with how much you drink." Thessania, you cannot help but feel like this is also being directed at you, even while she is talking with Lucas.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Your tastes are always impeccable.
As are yours. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see you here. Normally, you're back at that castle of your lord doing something or other for him. You must be in quite the mood to be coming here today. I know your work is your life.
Oh, I have my distractions, although that pack of puka chidlings that we've taken in certainly takes up plenty of time. Rowdy bunch.
Oh, speaking of adventures, that does remind me. After your business later on, I should tell you that there is this wine in the dreaming that I've been meaning to get my hands on. And I know you have a little love for the vineyard yourself. I remember giving you some gifts of it for your seining. Oh, you were so adorable back then. Oh, but I'm getting distracted. Anyway, I thought you might like to go adventuring to grab some for myself and perhaps for your collection soon.
Yes, I still have those bottles. Fine vintage. Quite intriguing. Yes, perhaps when I have some time, we can arrange a little trip and a little see about improving our own collections. That would be excellent.
Her fluffy little tail wags as she turns to give the food to the third member of our forming motley. Elerus, why are you here?
So, Elerus serves at Radamanthus's freehold as the new titular high sorcerer, a position which he was outmaneuvered by Radamanthus and accepted reluctantly. But matters have recently come to a head. He's tried to ignore the sighs, the wistful looking out the windows, but today Radamanthus went to him and asked him to review some poetry he had been writing. And it went on and on and on. And something has to be done.
Perhaps the finest explanation for why any of you are here. What have you ordered, Elerus?
Having sampled Purcell's delights before, Elerus will order the pancakes.
I do believe that you got the pancakes last time you were here.
They are delicious.
Same big sack of pancakes, or are you changing it up somehow this time?
Oh, you can't improve upon perfection. The same big stack.
Okay, so Purcell sits down a big hefty plate that she has been balancing in one of her hands. The stack of pancakes is taller than the boggin herself. It is unclear how she possesses the strength and dexterity to be carrying this, in addition to everything that she has brought for your other two companions today. Nevertheless, she has managed to bring it, sets it down with a gentle clatter, and your vision is now obscured by this big stack of delicious pancakes dripping with gleaming syrup and topped with warm melted butter.
Elerus almost just still, thank you, Purcell. It's the prettiest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, you're far too kind, dear. This is really quite sweet of you. I always love it when you come by. She moves over a glass of water. Now, I do need you to remember to drink this in between eating lots of bites because I do not want you to collapse and begin to choke on the pancakes.
Again.
Yes, it has happened before, and it was a rather embarrassing, if not life threatening situation.
But it's how I want to go. All right, okay. A little water, and then a lot of pancake.
Yes, and then, she says, narrowing her eyes in a stern fashion that fixes your gaze, and then a little more water before the next lot of pancakes.
Mm.
You seem out of sorts, dear. Is everything okay?
Elerus will take his hands and kind of shuffle some papers that he moved hastily out of the way while Purcell set this dish down. You would see page after page after page with crown scribbled all over it. Purcell could see it, and it's essentially, it would be generous and diplomatic to call it plans to help Radamanthus.
So, what exactly have you actually thought of lately, Elerus?
I thought of putting a new playground in the freehold. We need another one.
Oh, I thought you were working on more plans to at least get my dad,
Oh,
out of his low slump.
that! Oh, why didn't you ask? Yeah. I've got it all figured out. Okay, how do you get people together? You go on an adventure. We just got to get them to go on an adventure together. And then they'll fall in love and get married and, I don't know, become grumps. Isn't that usually what happens?
They're already grumps, dear.
Not immense explosions of summer.
It's not the worst idea. People get quite close and forge unbreakable bonds when they endeavor on adventures and survive great terrors together.
Except Dad's a count now.
And
When was the last time Boleros actually left the freehold?
it has been a bit.
Exactly.
Purcell excuses herself from your table. Incidentally, is this a private table, or were the three of you fine just being at a long table and making it clear that other people should keep their distance?
I was thinking like a corner booth or something.
I'd be fine with a public table.
Cool.
I'm fine with either. Let's go with a public table.
Sure.
That's fine.
You have a public table that's in the one of the corners of the tavern. Up above you are photographs of Purcell at various events. It's like all of these are events which are like very clearly birthday parties or seining events for various changelings. And she is just always in there, no matter who it is or how long ago their seining was.
These pictures, they're kind of like talking to me. Can you hear that? Okay. The adventure idea, we'll call that best idea. But maybe if we can find out what they both liked a long time ago, then we get them together and they can do that again.
That's possible. Fetch, do I know anything about like old hobbies that he doesn't really pursue or from his youth or anything?
Oh, Lord Belarus's older hobbies. Yes, he did used to be more adventurous in his youth. How long have you been serving him?
Probably a few years. I probably started out as a commoner and then got kind of like earned my stripes and then became a squire and went and became his butler kind of a thing. So probably a few years anyway.
All right, so there is some stuff that is publicly available because he is a very public figure, but not all of it is public. So let's start with what you would know for sure, and then we'll get into roles if you want to explain how you might know more of the truth about it. So, by his public history, Lord Boleros comes from a noble family. He was raised in the Shi traditions. Most of it's pretty standard, but he supposedly went on these romantic adventures where he, tamed nightmarish monsters and pushed away Nightmare Chimera and Valane. Within his own house, it's known that he's dealing with a lot of other unseelie elements, commoner and noble alike, and even has some dealings with Valane these days. The BC boys, these species have been turned into children that he has decided to take care of. But his history tends to be one where he claims to be somebody who has always had an interest in battling against magic and using politics to bring the worst elements of chimerical reality to heal. When it comes to romance, yeah, everybody knows that he and Radamanthus, kind of had a thing for each other, but it's not very well known how deep it was. The official story, for those who've bothered to dig into it, is that this courtier, Laminia, that Elerus had kindly introduced into Fae society, she had turned against him and attempted to corrupt the great Seelie Lord Radamanthus, and of course, Elerus did his best to unveil her true wicked nature and bring that to heel like he has all other monsters. But anything that he's ever felt towards Radamanthus has been a fleeting gesture, of course. The fancies of Wilders long left behind. The match that would never have possibly worked. That he has never truly known love in his time. You happy with that explanation?
Yeah, it's pretty good. The only thing I can think for how he would know anything else is if he overheard Elerus telling stories to the pups to try and get them to calm down, or a story before bed or something.
Interesting. Okay, you're trying to recall these stories, and these are going to be things that he would have said reluctantly to these children, and would not have wanted other people to see them. So this would have been something that you have done with a great amount of discretion if you were overhearing these tales, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to ask you for, let's call it an intelligence plus etiquette roll to reflect your memory and your mannerisms of the time. What you were able to pick up in those brief glimpses that you were around him under appropriate circumstances where he could not avoid you. I'm curious, by the way, how much of a prying person is Lucas? Is this something that he's been actively curious about, his lord's history?
Kinda, yeah. You gotta know your lord if you want to serve him properly, right?
Okay.
He's not a gossip, but it's more about just knowing who he's serving and the best way to do that.
So I'm going to say that your belonging to the house enables you to roll period. Base difficulty is 6. I would increase that to 7 because this is kind of garbled information he's trying to keep secret. But I'm actually going to decrease it back to 6 because we've established by your backstory, you are his butler. You spend a lot of time around him, so it's very likely that he wouldn't have been able to escape your notice. So please give me a roll against difficulty 6, and for every success, I will tell you one interesting piece about his time as a wilder or a childling.
Okay.
Do you want to spend willpower before making the roll?
You know what? It's the first roll of the game. Let's spend a will.
Good idea. For the audience, we are using a dice spot in Discord to track results, and ooh, that That is good.
That's a good roll.
That's
I am good at etiquette.
5 successes.
Damn.
Okay. So I'm going to start giving out information, but I also want you to start working what I say into conversation with the other two so that it's not just me talking for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, first and most notably, much of what I've told you is a fiction. While it is true that Beleros spent time politicking with Thalain and the more unseemly unseelie and dealing with dark sorcerers, the fact is that as a wilder, he was often fully engaging with that. He made expeditions deep into the dreaming to try to connect with the Fomorians. He has told the kids stories about like how he claims that he's met the gods. And in fact, that's how he claims that he got his signature eye. Lord Beleros wears an eye patch. He is not blind in one eye, but he does possess something that he simply calls the Eye of Baelor. If he takes off the eye patch and you look at it, bad things will happen to you. He acquired that from delving deep into the dreaming. He really, really loved this kind of dark stuff.
Okay. So, as we're sitting around and we're pondering what kind of activity could these two do, Lucas thinks for a moment, inhaling his wine a little as he thinks, and then says, well, he has always had a fascination with the Fomorians. Rumors are that he actually lost his eye delving deep into the dreaming in search of things relating to them.
Out of character, this is only one piece of information. You have 4 more remaining, which I will... Yeah.
Okay.
How do Thessania and Elerus react to this?
So we know he adventures and stuff. Anything with, is adventuring partners?
That's a great... And I like this. I think all 3 of you, out of character, should be able to pitch for information that you want. So I'm going to say the next thing this jogs in Lucas's mind. The little BC boys, as they're known, they didn't believe that he could do all of this by himself and that he was going to be able to actually, go to the deep dreaming and come back. It seems pretty absurd. Any trip into the dreaming is fraught with danger, much less going that deep into it. And he has reluctantly admitted to them that he has had traveling companions, yes. Some of them are unseelie, some of them have been Thalain, chimerical entities. Any guide that he could find to go deeper, he did, but there are a couple that really stand out. No matter how bold he might sound, he used to actually be a little bit of a scaredy cat. And he had Radamanthus there at his side to be the one to help encourage him on his endeavors and to dive deeper and deeper. The 2 of them working in partnership to explore wherever their passions took them, including deep into the dreaming itself. It is switched today. Beleros is a pretty outgoing, friendly, chill kind of guy, but he used to be quite reserved. And Radamanthus used to be the more rambunctious one. But more than that, he does reluctantly mention that he's known Laminia longer than he publicly admits. They were childhood friends.
What?
Okay, so he takes a sip of his wine as Thessania asks about companions, and he says, he would often venture with allies. In fact, your father, Radamanthus, was a regular accompaniment on these ventures of his. From what I hear, they made quite the duo. He's also apparently known your mother since they were children.
Wait, what? Tisana literally just chokes on her beer, like, at that.
I say this only because you are her daughter. Just let's keep that between us.
From the distance, you hear Purcell saying, "Drink slowly, dear."
Yes, apparently they were childhood friends.
Tisana is speechless at that. I guess for background, Tisania is not really on much speaking terms with her mother, or much at all, considering she just has not been much of a presence in her life, aside from her infamy. But yes.
Yes, well, seeing how speechless, he kind of shuffles his glass around a bit. Actually, he was the one who introduced your parents to each other. Obviously, he didn't expect what happened, but...
For Sal, I'm gonna need something a bit stronger.
Coming right up, dear. Please do not pass out at your table, otherwise I will have to take other actions and put you into a big comfy bed. Purcell sets down a gigantic plate of sausages for a corby of redcaps who look with slavering delight upon the plate of meat before them. What happens next is awful. She disappears into the back, presumably to get your drink, while the three of you are left to ponder questions like, what the heck did he do during his childhood?
Yeah, the salary meanwhile just stews a biscuit from Jay and also stews a piece of pancake from Elerus.
Hey! Those are all mine.
You can spare one. Have some sympathy for a princess in shock.
Unfortunately, Lucas has the possessive flaw, so when you reach for some of his, he would flick your finger away as politely as he can. There's a reason that I said, don't touch my stuff.
Thank you for mentioning out of character that is a flaw so that your fellow player has context.
So yeah, he would have, as politely as possible, kind of like flicked your finger away and given you a little finger wag. Mm-mm-mm.
That one was shaped like a butterfly, too.
This kind of gives Lucas a glare.
You are glaring at Lucas while holding in your other hand this pancake that is as thick as your palm.
That's not even a pancake anymore. That's just a cake.
Hey, cake-sized pancake is still a tasty thing.
The funny thing is, you are she. So as you're holding this pancake, the syrup just kind of like drips elegantly down your arm or onto the plate. It doesn't stick to you or get caught in your clothing, much less your wings, thank goodness.
Her holding it is essentially the equivalent of taking a picture of a pancake dribbling with syrup in a very food porny fashion.
Excellent. Oh, you know what? The pancakes look like the ones from Curse the Cowardly Dog. It's that kind of vibe. There we go.
Yeah, she just basically just like rips the pancake in half and puts the other half of that back on.
Oh, it has come back to me. Are you still answering questions?
If you have one and I think of the answer.
Yeah. So, and you see Elerus at this point turns back to his pads of paper and fishes out a crown from his pocket and just starts, again, just drawing. Okay, so we know then, but now it's now. So we need to know how they got from then to now. So when was the last time that they stopped going on adventures?
When did they stop going out on the adventures together? Let me think.
Stop going on adventures.
Perhaps when was the last time they went out on an adventure together?
Oh gosh. It was just before Illuminia swooped in to make her proposal to Radamanthus. It
The
was
marriage proposal?
Yep. The three of them had gone adventuring together into the deep dreaming. That's how Elerus had gotten his eye. And he does not tell the, little children what he planned to do after that, but the moment that Luminia swooped in and made that proposal, that's when things just started ending. And he had to admit to the puppies, like, that is when he became a grump. That moment that he lost something to care about or believe in that wasn't the cynical politics of life. Those two people meant the world to him. Does that answer your third question?
Yeah. So I'll say, from what I understand, the last time Elerus and Rhadamanthus went out adventuring together, Lavinia was with them. When they returned, it was not long after that she proposed marriage with Rhadamanthus, and after that, he seemed to have lost a bit of that sparkle for adventure.
Okay, I see.
I trust this will, of course, remain just between us.
As you're asking that question, Purcell is returning. She's holding it looks like a martini glass, but inside of it, it's a translucent blue. Now be sure to snip carefully at this, dear.
Will do. And Lavinia just kind of grumpily just like sipping this while she's listening to all of this.
You are now holding something that resembles a martini that looks kind of like if you took an actively shaken snow globe, poured it into a martini glass, and it just continued to agitate by itself. It swirls in different ways when you pick it up, and when you sip it, it tastes like Christmas. It also hits like a hammer. You are immediately feeling a slight cheerful buzz kicking in. And music? Well, Elerus, what were you about to say?
Elerus is trying to put together the elements that he's hearing from Lucas, because while he is in favor of planned adventure, messing with the
Fomorians?
Fomorians, that's serious business. So maybe something a little more lighthearted, something that kind of reminds them of better times and not how things ended.
Are you curious to know more about the lightest times in his life?
If Lucas is willing to share, yeah, he'll take the info.
So long as we keep this between us, I prefer not being known as a gossip.
I will tell absolutely everyone everything.
I'm around enough pukas to understand what that means.
And so you think back, because the Beastie Boys are a group of, beasties that Elris had de-aged using Chronos magic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Kronos.
Yes. And they were not very happy about being children again, and Beleros had reluctantly told them a bit about himself as a kid. He had a lot of playmates. He was a very curious child who constantly frustrated the older she nobles because he was always the kid who would go up to a red cap corby of childlings and say hey, can I play in the games too? Or follow around a Pisky and try to get involved in their games, or go watch the Slua do their ceremonies when they normally wouldn't want other people to, but was very desperate to convince them that he was cool and it would be cool to see it. And that included befriending even Thou children. He hung out with them a lot. Lominia, the Svirtle, was one of those kids that he knew. She was maybe his first and oldest friend, and they played a lot together, which in turn helps explain why she had such an easy time gaining access to the local freehold system. Yeah. Does that answer your question? He was the kid who hung out with all of the weird kids that you were not supposed to hang out with, and he did so very publicly.
Yes, so, well, in his younger days, when he was a child, I hear he was fascinated with all of the children that he was not supposed to be fascinated by. He was upset, his curiosity to know things, to see the ceremonies that were only meant for other eyes or spending time with the children that everyone else said you shouldn't spend time with them. That's probably how he met Lavinia. Always trying to get the Slua to bring him to one of their private tea sessions or something, because it was something that normally only the Slua could see or experience.
Thank you, Lucas. And the picture becomes clearer.
Was that Puka ease or normal?
What do you mean normal? It's exactly what I meant it to be, and exactly what you think it is.
Lucas just shrugs at Thessania as if to say, Pukas.
Okay, so I suppose we should. Where's the best pattern attack here?
Are there any ceremonies or festivals going on that perhaps he could get an invite to, something that normally he would not be privy to?
I think Dasana would have to think on that part. And
I think I would have to open my copy of the Book of Days for that part.
And I think that might amount to a roll on Dasana's part.
It very well might, depending upon what we're trying to find. I am going to pull up the Book of Days. For listeners, that is a fan supplement that covers ceremonies and rituals that happen on, I think, literally every day of the year. It's not canon, but it is a fantastic resource for anyone who is interested in adding a bit more flavor to their games. And sometimes it turns out it's really handy to have that when your players ask questions like, are there any ceremonies coming up? This book is, by the way, written by Puka, who is one of the regular co hosts of this. Now, this game of ours is taking place within the context of it being the middle of May when we are recording these sessions. So, what I can do is I can pull that up and see whether there's any obvious ceremonies that your character would be aware of. And if so, just let you know that. And if not, then I may ask for a roll for you to interpret something from that. At the same time, you do have one more question that can be asked from Jay's result. Very impressive result.
Do any of you have any ideas, or should I come up with something?
I got nothing on my end.
Well, we've asked about his childhood, his young adulthood. What about in the modern day? Like, does he have anything he keeps wishing, maybe commenting, "Oh, I wish I could go see that or go do that, but I'm just too damn busy right now." It's about all I can think of because we've covered a lot now. Unless you guys got a better idea.
Well, I think that's a good one.
I will tell you for free, without even asking for your fifth question yet, he does seem like he's wistful for those days. But really getting into more details about that would be the subject of a question.
Yeah. Is it the life-threatening adventure, or is it discovering something is he more drawn to just the Lord of the Rings style adventure, or is he drawn more to there's some unknown information or newly discovered thing over there?
I can clarify that for you as information you would have picked up from one of the previous answers.
Okay.
Honestly, the romance and the edginess of looking into this dark stuff, because it was cool and forbidden, much more than actually being any good at the magic. That is presumably part of the reason he hung out with Radamanthus, who is actually really, really good with magic, unlike Beleros.
And where does Lavinia fall into the dynamic?
Beleros would have had a limited perspective from what he shared about this. She was kind of the one who kept the two of them and all their trips and all of their courtiers organized so that things didn't go wrong. You might say that Beleros would be the one who was curious about something to go to adventure, that Radamanthus was the one to give the drive to go forth and do it and the skill to make use of it, And Luminia was the one who made sure they didn't all die anytime they went to, I don't know, summon a Fomorian or see if they could go dip into the underworld for an evening.
What about Radamanthus? This is all from what Beleros would have said, but would he have said anything about, like, Radamanthus always liked doing this or enjoyed that?
He may have said some stuff about Radamanthus's interests, and I can think of something that he might have been able to add. But that information is going to be very limited because the context of this is he's been telling these itty bitty childlings
Yeah.
stories about his own life so that they respect him
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
It's just that kind of backfired a little bit when he was like, yes, I did have traveling companions. Yes, this was one who organized things, this one who knew all the magic. And then they're just like, wait, so like, were you just like the sidekick tagging along? He's like, no, I was like the leader. And they just enjoy teasing the Grump relentlessly.
Okay.
What's publicly known about Radamanthus is that he used to be an adventurer with a lot of verve to him. Someone who was willing, capable to study magic and master the arts of sorcery, and brave enough to go adventuring to find it.
Okay. I can't really come up with a good fifth question. If we wanted to bank it,
Sure.
and then we could use it later if something comes to mind. Unless
Sure.
somebody else
I'll
has
allow
it.
that.
Yeah, I think it might be good to
Yeah.
bank it for now.
Yeah, and then if something comes up down the road, we can use it then.
And out of character, it sounds like one thing you're hoping for is maybe we can find some upcoming event here happening in May or June that Beleros would be interested in, and presumably one that you could get Radamanthus to be interested in going.
For a little double date.
Yeah. Okay.
Little date night for them. We'd have to convince someone to let them in, but
What I want to do is pull from the Book of Days to share some ideas with you, and that might make a good downtime between session thing that you all look at. And then we focus the rest of this session on more information gathering that you might do, maybe on Radamanthus's end or Luminia's, which could mean leaving here, recollecting things, looking around here for ideas, or going to either of their domains or talking to people that they know.
yeah, okay. So that's most of what I can think of. If perhaps we could find some secret little event that normally he wouldn't be able to attend, maybe we could convince them to invite him and give him a +1. We could set up perhaps a little date night for him and Radamanthus. Or if there's anything relating to the Fomorians going on, we might have to ask around, see if anybody's heard anything.
Where did they usually get their information about the Fomorians back then?
Oh, he went deep into the deeper dreaming. Many, not just him, would go looking for reliquaries, libraries, people who knew things that they could pass on.
So you want to, like, they're going to be in the same place at the same time. Are we making a date?
Yes, Elerus, we are setting them up for a date.
Also known as a parent trap by some.
Yes, a parent trap.
Oh, so we're going to need a boat, a talking crab. I'm going to need a lot of stuff.
We can put you in a crab suit, and you can be the
No,
crab.
no. It's got to be a real talking crab named Sebastian. I've seen the movie like 100 times.
You probably have to talk to the merfolk for that, which I don't think we have a lot of that around here in Phoenix.
Storyteller's note, although there are a few that exist in the broader Freehold area, they are in fact quite rare here.
What about you two? You have any ideas? Any knowledge we can use?
Could I make a roll and see if there's any celebrations or...
Yeah, so June is National Pride Month, and midsummer is happening then, which is the time when the Fae are at their most wild. why not see if these three can put together a party where those two lords will feel as though they can be themselves? And who knows? Maybe keep Laminia out or find some way of bringing her in that is not toxic. Which means that next session will focus upon negotiating with various factions and individuals in an attempt to arrange the party and convince people to attend, hopefully without them getting wise about what you are trying to accomplish. And then our final part of the adventure is going to be the party and everything that goes wrong with it and hopefully right with it. Does that sound good to everybody?
Right on.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. We are now going to do stars and wishes, and then I am going to hand out experience points to the group. When I do XP in this one, I am just going to do it as group XP. So I'll take all the points that you've earned, put them into a pot, and then hand them out to you as a group. So let us begin with Elerus. Stars and wishes, please. And then after you're done, you can popcorn it over to another player.
Oh my. So I have to give immediately a star to Medi for the pitch perfect Thesania what that just kind of summarized.
You stole
yeah.
mine.
I'm sorry.
Same.
I am a
Same.
thief. I am a thief in the night. It's great to see Thesania again. I loved that reaction. I also have to give a star to Lucas. I mean, it was an excellent role, which is chance, but giving the rest of us the opportunity to pitch in with the questions and offering was a way to take an individual role and make it like a group benefice, which I appreciate because you didn't have to. It was all Lucas's knowledge. A star to Fetch for and you always do this, and I am immensely jealous of being able to step back into the role of characters who you might not have visited in a while, particularly Purcell, just like you'd played them yesterday.
Thank you.
In terms of wishes, I don't really have any off the top of my head, but I will think about it. But nothing leaps out to me. But now I get to toss the hot potato to Jay. Lucas, if you want to take it away.
I'll try, but you stole half of mine.
I am but a thief in the night. My apologies.
Little pigeon thief, you. For Thesania, star for Thesania, for that moment with her trying to take a piece of his cheese and him flicking her away.
I was not expecting that. It was beautiful. So
Yeah.
bratty.
Especially because it's like, this is a butler flicking away a princess, essentially,
Yeah.
from a station standpoint.
Sorry back to you, by the way, for remembering to play out your character's flaw and doing it in a way that was still respectful to the other players.
Yeah, thank you. Star to Elerus. I like the Sebastian under the sea comment.
I was thinking about that movie the entire time I've been planning this adventure.
Yeah. It's also it's also got a double meaning because Sebastian is the name of two anime butlers.
Oh, that's a good point.
Look, I'm just saying, if the session ends up with Fetch having to portray Laminia singing "Poor Unfortunate Soul," I would have no regrets.
Great. Does that make this an Ariel?
We can discuss that.
And star for Fetch for Purcell. Love Purcell.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you finally got to meet her.
Especially the little wine deal we got going now.
If this were a different campaign, the whole adventure would be the three of you trying to acquire some cask of wine, because why not, Faye?
Yeah. Nothing comes to mind for wishes at the moment, so take it away, Thesania. Or Medi.
Sorry for Fetch, just for all of the food descriptions and the drink descriptions. I
Thank you.
definitely like it. Your percept portrayal just being that tiny motherly ram, and definitely like that interaction between the Sonya and Lucas. She will steal that fry at some point.
Is this going to become her driving goal? A new flaw to add to her sheet? I will steal his food.
Maybe.
Flaw, food thief.
I mean, like her, I guess, unseen legacy is the knave. Usually, you're just goading other people to it, but you kind of also have to embody that at some point. Just being that troublemaker and
Pursuing pleasure pursuits and that.
yeah, and just satisfaction of annoying somebody is its own reward.
Yeah, Lucas is actually also a rake. That's why he said no to you. You're not taking my cheese.
Incredible. Your characters are both beautifully dysfunctional. I love it. I begin to see the shape of things.
And Elerus, you are so gonna be stuffed into a crap suit.
Would not be the first time. I still probably have that dinosaur costume somewhere.
Can it be while he's in pigeon form and you just have like a tiny pigeon-sized crab costume that he fits into?
Oh my goodness.
Maybe.
I mean, Sebastian was not like a giant crab or something, so like...
Sonya can do a cover of Kiss the Girl called Kiss the Boy, and...
I mean, I have the performance stats for it. I don't think me as a player have the performance points for it.
I've been there.
Yeah, I think for Elerus, I just love how adorable he is.
Well, thank you. I try.
But yes, that's it on my end. Popcorn it over to Fetch. Here, have all the popcorn.
It's so good, and yet I noticed that all of the popcorn has been eaten. There are but kernels left over after all the praises heaped upon myself and everybody else. So, what do I have to add at this point? For one, I want to start all of you for handling all of this so well. This is my first time running an actual play, and I was terrified of there being a bunch of issues, and while there certainly were some, you all handled them excellently. So thank you for that. Elerus ordering pancakes again, leaning into it. It was great. Medi saying you needed a stronger drink when you realized how bad things were going. And Jay having the forethought to go for do I know much about Elerus's background? Figuring that out turned out to be the key to making the adventure's direction happen. I also like how you kept track in chat over how many of the questions had been answered and were giving to the other players for being able to suggest more questions to investigate. My biggest wish is next session, I want to just have some focused scenes on characters. My biggest concern is going to be that we've had discussion, decided a course of action. I don't want to spend too much time on further discussions in next session because we all know that will slow things down. I mostly just want to jump into whatever it is. I fully expect there'll be like 10 or 15 minutes every time over who do we talk to and what do we talk to them about. But then I just want to jump into it even if we don't have all the answers figured out. Because one, time, two, pacing, and three, having a little bit of chaos, not necessarily a bad thing. If we can keep this managed, then we get to have the last session focus entirely upon who things go after. Oh, and second wish, I do actually want you to drag Luminia into this. I think it would be really fun if you pull the Thalane Queen out of her shell and convince her to attend, even if she thinks it's going to be in an antagonistic role. Because why not have a happy ending for everybody?
Thruple.
Now, with that said, let's do some experience points. Now, I did give you all a bunch of extra starting XP because characters had XP at the end of my previous campaign. I believe that count was 23 XP. Does that sound correct to everybody?
I thought it was 20.
I was gonna say I had 20 as well.
Medi, do you have 20?
Let's see here. Yeah, 20.
Okay. So, for viewers who are new to this, the way that XP normally works is that you hand out 1 to 5 experience points per session per player, depending upon how well they played, whether they took heroic actions, and a number of other factors. It can lead to players having uneven experience points. It feels really bad as a storyteller when I have to say something like, yeah, I think player A did some good role playing, so they get some experience points, but players B and C, you just didn't impress me enough to get it. Nobody feels good when that is said.
Nah.
So normally what I like to do is instead figure out those qualifiers, put them into a big pool, divide it evenly, and then leave the leftovers for future sessions. But in this case, I want to keep it simple. I am just going to give all of you 5 XP, so you should all now be at 25. Do not worry about training times. If there is something you want to purchase or upgrade, you are welcome to do so immediately. And with that, we come to the end of our first session. So, thank you, all 3 of you, for coming. Thank everybody in the audience for listening. And we will see you next week back in the Freehold of Phoenix. Have a good night.
Sessions 0 for Changeling games tend to be a little different from most in that you have to ask players unexpected questions. Yes, you have to check on lines and veils, but be sure to also ask about potential triggers like ambulatory carnivorous angel food cakes of ill temper who hunt in packs, or the lascivious attentions of sentient rose-colored fog that guards the deep-dreaming trods. You should check how much combat the players want, but remember to ask if they prefer straight-up swords and shields or just wailing on each other with stockpiles of discount lunch meat. And while it's important to build backstory around how the changelings know each other, or the connections they have to face society at large, don't neglect talking about the last painting they ate if they're a redcap who does Rhapsody, or their favorite baked good to give hated enemies if they're a particularly vindictive boggin. We'd like to continue supporting games that ask and discuss hard-hitting questions and topics like these, and we're in turn supported by our most excellent patrons who get a shout-out of thanks each episode, like so. Bad Company, Ben the Canadian, Siglosson Jr., Tarek, Dorcadus, Elerus, Henry Kraft, Ia Bull, Oreo, Ross Caboose, Rebecca P., Sandjager, Sija, The Crew of Erebus, and Ware Buffalo. If you'd like to join their ranks, stop by www.patreon.com/changelingthepodcast to sign up. We also welcome reviews on the podcast listening platform at your greatest convenience, or just tell a friend or fellow gamer about our show. We hope you're excited for the next installment of this chronicle, so until the next chapter, we wish you well and encourage you as always to keep on dreaming.